today we'll be looking at, this will be a part 2 of what we did yesterday, and today we'll be doing, or we'll be writing C code that returns a value, then we embed it inside our assembly and see how we can retrieve the returned value. So this was requested by Les, and let's get straight into it and try to code it. So first I will create my C file. I will name it let me name it return.c. You can name it whatever you want. Then as usual, let us define our function prototype. Maybe I might call it multiply. Let us try to multiply two numbers, and we'll take an integer a and an integer b. Then we'll go ahead, so it will not be void because we'll be returning an integer. Then go ahead and return a times b, then followed by a semicolon. So this is the function that will be available outside, or that we'll use inside our assembly. Then don't forget to export it. So extern the return type, the name of our function, multiply, then followed by the arguments that it takes, so int a and int b, just like that. Now we have exported our C function. So after doing that, let's go straight to our assembly function. So I will name it main.s, like that, and let us write our section text here where we'll be writing our code. So section text followed by our usual global main, our entry point. Then we use the label like that. Now first, before doing that, let us import those functions. So I'll name it, so I will just use extern here again. Extern, what is our function? Multiply, that we have defined again. Then we'll use the inbuilt exit inside the standard library. So we'll go ahead and push some arguments into the stack before calling the function. So let me push something like 2 and push like 3. So we will expect the result to be a 6. Then after doing that, let us call the multiply function that we have defined. Then here's now the trick, or here is the gist. So after this multiplication is done, the value or the result is stored in register EAX. So after this, the 6 will be stored in this register. Then what we'll do, we'll push again. We'll push EAX now, which will be 6. Then we push it on top of the stack. Then exit. Then we call exit. Now the exit function will have a status code of the value that will be stored in EAX. In our previous video, we did something like this. So we just put 0, which will result to something like this. So exit of 0. But now we want to print or we want to see the value or the status code. We want the status code to be the return value. So that's why we have put EAX, which will contain 6. So this will be 6, the result. And now if we push EAX and call exit, this will be a 6. So that's all. Okay, this is just a simple way to illustrate how or see how we can use those return values. But remember that the result is stored into EAX. Now let us try and assemble it. So nasm elf32, then followed by, which is main.s, let us create our object file. So it has assembled successfully, and let us use the GCC. We'll use the no-pi flag, then the architecture M32, followed now by the name of our C file, which will be return.c, and then again we will let us pass the object file, which will be main.o. So then now our executable main, or you can name it whatever you want. So as you can see, it has compiled successfully with our usual warning, and let us try and run the project. So as we ls here, you see now we have an executable. So let us try to run it. So it has run, and let us see what is returned inside the status code. So echo $, a question mark. So you can see we have our result over here. So let us go back again. So we import our multiply and extern, then we push the argument, so which is 3 and 2, which will, when we call multiply, it will take 3 and 2, multiply it, which will be 6, and the result will be stored into the register EAX. Then we push now the value into the stack again, which will be on top. Then we call the exit. Now the exit function will hold a status code of our result. So that's why we have used echo like that. But because we haven't run our, so if we run it again, so it will execute. Then we've used the same command. You see now we have our result, which will be printed as 6. So that's how you use maybe functions that have return values. So depending on the project that you are doing, the scenario might change, but this is the basic of using a custom C function that has a return value. So that's all for today, and see you on the next video.